Dan Hopper with Remax Alliance, and right now we're going to start our home sellers process blog. Today I'm just going to talk a little bit about getting started. What's going to happen in the early stages when someone contacts me to look at their property for potentially putting it on the market to sell it. Before we meet, there's going to be a few things, a few details that we're going to go over. One of them that I probably am going to ask you, probably the very first question is going to be, why do you want to sell? And sometimes people think, well, that doesn't really matter, we just want to sell. Well, there may be reasons. There could be a situation where you've been given foreclosure. Then that's a totally different topic, and we'll discuss that through a different blog of mine as it pertains to stop foreclosure. But maybe you say, well, a job transfer, we're going to relocate out of the state, I have to go. Maybe you're going to downsize. Maybe it's time for you to move up because your family's growing. These things are important for me to know. Also, I'm going to ask for the details of the property. So when I ask you about your home, just think of it as you're trying to market that home to me. You're going to give me in details everything you know about your home. The style, the garage, does it have air conditioning? Have you done any updating on this property? New kitchens, new bathroom, new flooring, new roof, new HVAC system. You just had the furnace replaced or the hot water heater replaced. All this stuff is just important. Why? I want to take notes so that when I do have the opportunity to look at the home, I know what I'm going to be kind of narrowing in on and really viewing the home with a very scrutiny type eye. Also, with the details, I'm going to do what is called an O&E. It's an ownership and encumbrance search. I'll give it the title company, we'll pull it up. I want to find out if there's any liens on the property, if there's any judgments, if there's a bankruptcy that took place. And a lot of times it may not be you, but you may have such a common name that that information is still going to come up. But we need to make sure we clear all that stuff right up front so we understand what I'm getting into with you. The next thing is you're going to prepare for the appointment. And how are you going to prepare for that appointment? Once we get off the phone, I'll put together my disclosure package of documents, and I'm going to provide that to you. At the same time, you're going to also dig up, if you have any existing loans, you're going to dig up all that information. If you just recently bought it, let's say within the last 5, 6, 7 years, I want to be able to look at your last closing. If you still have those loan documents and that title work with you, I want to review all that as well. During this process, once I get these things done, we're going to make sure that you get a package of the documents. Why? So that you can review them before we actually do sit down for our listing appointment for us to put the house on the market. Now, why is that important? I want you to be able to review all the documents. There's a couple documents in there, a seller's property disclosure form that you will have to fill out. And you're going to answer it as much as you can about the property. You're going to give it as much detail answers that you can. Some things you're just not going to know, so you're going to check, I don't know. But we'll go over that, and if you got questions, you'll be able to call me. Again, the loan information is important in any other real estate documents that you have. Now, at the actual appointment, expect me to do a walkthrough, and I'm going to go through the property, and I'm really going to scrutinize it. I'm going to look at it very hard. I want to look at it through the eyes of a buyer, through the eyes of an appraiser. Why? Because they're in the process. Buyers are important. Now, when I'm doing my walkthrough, something else that you could actually do, kind of back up here on preparing, go check out a new home subdivision. Go walk through the model homes and see how these homes look. See how they have them staged, because you and I are going to talk about that during our appointment. The disclosures, we're going to go over the disclosures. Marketing plan, you'll have that, we'll go over them. And so that way when we're here at our appointment, it gives you an opportunity to formulate the kind of questions you want to ask me. And then that way we're not there for 5, 6 hours. We can make the meetings a lot shorter. And then I want to make my recommendations to you. at this meeting, and then we're going to go from there. I may look at the property. Maybe you haven't had the furnace changed in 24 years. Maybe your house is 40 years old. We're going to make recommendations. It may not hurt for you to actually bring in an inspector. Let the inspector check your house out and give you a report. Then you're going to have some unknown items now known that may need to be addressed before we ever try to get your house on the market. Because it's very important that when we put your property on the market, especially if you're doing such things like we want to get the most out of our property because we're moving up, we're downsizing, and again, we're pushing all the foreclosure and the short sale stuff to a different blog. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about you wanting that you have a different real estate need, not because you're being forced into foreclosure. So you're looking to move up. We want to get the most amount of dollar we can off your property in the shortest amount of time that the buying market will allow us to do. Then we'll also discuss what kind of buyers are out there for your property. Is it going to be an FHA buyer? Will it be a conventional buyer? All these things are important, and that's part of the marketing that we're going to do. So anyway, this is just kind of touching the very front part so that you understand that there's going to be, it is a process, but all these things have to be discovered. Now please, do yourself and me a favor. Do not ask me what I think the property is worth while I'm there. This is why we're going through this process. And when I do my walkthrough, it gives me a chance to look at it so that I can compare with other properties that I have seen, other properties that have recently sold, so that I will come up with a market analysis. So when we meet the second time to finalize everything, it's right there. We'll be able to have all that information to you so that you feel like you're making a very, very good informed decision based on the market conditions, based on my knowledge, expertise, based on my marketing plan to get your home sold in a timely manner with the most profit that those buyers will pay. Thank you. Watch my video blogs. Contact me if you got some questions right now. Please send me an email, pick up the phone, call me, send me a text message if you have anything that you want to talk about, and I'll be happy to discuss it with you. For right now, have a wonderful day, and we'll be talking to you again.